Do any of you remember that iconic scene in the movie Say Anything, where Lloyd Dobler, played by John Cusack, holds up a boombox in front of Diane Court's bedroom window? Or do you remember when Romeo threw pebbles at Juliet's window to get her attention? Sweet human gestures that make us feel all warm and fuzzy inside. Today, we swipe photos of potential partners on our phones and reduce everybody, including ourselves, to 2D superficial images of ourselves. Never before have we had to measure, indicate, or verify our humanity like we do today. Any of us who have ever had to recognize an impossibly wavy set of letters in a tiny box before we can let in to our own inbox to read our own email know what I'm talking about. Of course, now we've graduated from those wavy letters called CAPTCHA to dozens of tiny pictures, and you have to recognize which ones are street signs, so that we can convince a robot that we are, in fact, human. According to research done by psychologist Susan Pinker, the secret to living longer, and I know what you're thinking, it's not heart health, it's not fitness, it's the number of human interactions we have per day and how many deep personal human relationships we have in our lives. In other words, Pinker says social isolation is the big public risk of our time, and technology is aiding that social isolation. By delegating some of the more human tasks in everyday life to technology, we've stripped away the parts that make us human, that make us live longer. Algorithms make all our playlists now, so nobody spends time lovingly mixing tapes for anybody. Lines of code learn all about our behavior to suggest our new favorite TV shows, the places we should go to eat. So we never have to turn to a real person and ask them for a recommendation to that hole-in-the-wall restaurant that doesn't have a Yelp page. And of course, how can we talk about the improper delegation of tasks in technology without talking about fake news and bots all around us? One of the most human things we do is get together with other people and talk about stuff that matters to us. Things like religion and politics. I see some nervous twitches in the audience. Of course we know those are taboo topics, Huda. Stop it. Technology platforms have so drastically polarized our worldviews that we as a collective, we've just given up on authentic conversations. We no longer debate people, not on the internet, not in real life. We all avoid that Republican uncle at Thanksgiving dinner, all the while complaining about him in our safe Twitter bubbles, because technology coddles us. When someone disagrees with us, now, we call them a bot. Or better yet, do you know what the single biggest insult of our time is? Calling someone a Russian bot. Because somehow that is way worse than calling them an average Joe Schmo bot. Back in the day, we used to think someone disagreeing with us was wrong, but at least we acknowledged them as human beings, as people. Now, when someone disagrees with us, our immediate reaction is to strip away their humanity. By hiding behind masks we construct, from opinions we borrow from others, and by ignoring the humanity in others, we actually give up some of our own humanity. And there are some industries that are hit harder by the lack of humanity in our technology than others, right? Maybe we'll recover collectively as a human race from the wrath that is Tinder. Maybe we won't, I don't care. But what I do care about is how inhumane tech has negatively impacted bigger industries like the automotive industry. Did you know that it wasn't until 2011, that is, yes, within this decade, that auto manufacturers were mandated by law to crash test their cars with male as well as female dummies? Of course, it wasn't until this year that the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia allowed women to drive at all. But really, merely 7 years ago, we were literally making things, technology, that were saving men's lives and killing women. If there was ever a silver lining to Saudi not allowing women to drive, it was this. I can just like picture the crown prince going like, at least I only let them drive when it was safe for them. Or what about industries like healthcare, something that's like near and dear to my heart? Have you ever been in a doctor's office and they've looked at you for like 2 seconds and then like turned away and furiously started typing at their computer? I'll bet that's happened to all of you. That's technology getting in the way of distinctly human interactions. Or I don't know how many of you have read about Serena Williams telling her doctors that she was experiencing a blood clot. She is the single greatest tennis player alive, and they wouldn't believe her. When we discount human interactions, we become worse as a society. Now, despite everything I've said up until now, I'm no Luddite. Quite the opposite, in fact. I would consider myself quite the technophile. Technology has the capacity to make the human race better. The way I see it, we've just swung too far the other way. Do I believe that robots are coming? You bet. They're already here. The mistake we've made is giving them the wrong jobs. By giving the robots all the human jobs, we're making ourselves worst versions of humans. But fear not. There is a way to recover. I say we give robots all the boring jobs. And then let's give living, breathing, beautiful humans all the interesting jobs. The nuanced, wholesome kind of jobs that robots can't do and that enrich our human experience. What if instead of forcing doctors to type into a piece of software from the 90s, the entire time they're seeing a patient, technology could be invisible and in the background and record their interaction in a way that it could be transliterated into a health record later? What if we built a system that could somehow let your healthcare provider know all about your health history before you saw them? I will now let you in on a little secret. A system like that exists today. It is called .health, and I may be a little bit biased, but it's pretty great. And it's a universal health record right on your phone. You can, in fact, download it right now. We're on the App Store. What if we could let algorithms drive our cars so that humans could spend their time with their families? What if we could use technology to augment the jobs we're already doing so without depleting the two things that make us human, our interactions with other humans and the deeply personal relationships we have with them? Well-designed technology is invisible. It gets out of the way of humans. And there are some things that humans are good at, and there are other things that robots are good at, and those are not the same. Teasing those apart and appropriately assigning jobs to humans or to robots, that's the key to a successful, more human, better future. My name is Huda Idrees. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.